Valentine's Day yesterday, or perhaps it's today, which is all about love and all those messages. Love is all there is, and all we need is love, and all of those other sayings. But over these last weeks, several times there's a statement being made that love is the greatest illusion of all. And whilst it's never been challenged by anyone saying, prove it, there is that challenge. So putting on our divine scientists, our divine psychologists' hat, we can look at this word, love, clinically. And to do so, there's that story about the princess called Feroza. She was the daughter of the Shah of the great land of Persia. And her name, Feroza, means turquoise. And Feroza loved her father, the Shah, dearly, but he was rarely there for her because he had duties to take care of his vast kingdom. But he did spend time with her, and they played chess. And so she learned the ways of chess. But when her father was away doing his kingly duties, she was left alone because her mother was occupied with the other things that a queen does, like choosing robes and jewelry being bought from far distant lands. So there was no time to spend with her daughter, Feroza. So she was lonely. She missed her father very dearly. So there came a day when that loneliness was so great that she decided that she was going to go to find her father. So she went to the stables and chose her favorite horse, Salam, and saddling him, she dressed herself in the garb of a boy, and she set out on her quest to find her father, wherever he might be. But as she travelled, she came to a great river, a violent river, and she was afraid. But her great and brave horse, Salam, faced that tumult and carried her across the foaming river to the other side. But when she arrived at the other side of the river, there facing her was a great demon, a dev, as they are sometimes called, a very fierce-looking demon. But the demon welcomed her. "Welcome, boy, you've come just at the right time. I have an errand for you to undertake. You have to go to the mountain up there where my brother lives and invite him to come in 7 days' time to my enthronement, because I have turned the Shah into a pebble that I have in my pocket. And in 7 days I am going to take over the kingdom. Go and give him my invitation to attend this, and he will give you whatever gift that you ask for." Now, of course, Feroza was very, very afraid, but on her great steed, Salam, standing tall, she put on the face of bravery and said that she would undertake this task. But of course now it took on a different dimension. What could she do to save her father, turned into a pebble? So she set out for the mountain in the distance where it was said that the brother of the demon lived. And it seemed that in no time they arrived at the foot of the mountain. Now it was very daunting for Feroza, but with her brave horse Salam, she tackled the mountain and arrived at the gates of this great edifice that housed the brother, the demon. And when she called at the gates and the gates were opened, she spoke loudly and bravely that she had a message from his brother. So she was welcomed by the demon and given hospitality. Now, although she did not have a plan, she put on her brave front to decide, as the moments arrived, what it was that she could do to save her beloved father. So when that hospitality was given and the invitation presented, the princess bravely spoke up and said, "Well, your brother told me that if I brought this message to you, you would give me whatever gift that I asked for." "Oh, yes," said the demon, "tell me, what is it you want?" And quickly came to the mind of Feroza, "I want the sharpest sword that will do away with any enemy that is met." "Easy," said the demon, and the next thing Feroza felt in her hand the hilt of a great sword. So Feroza, on her majestic steed, took leave of the demon to make her way back from whence she came, to cross again the great river. But before they did, night fell, and they had to take a place of safety in a cave. So whilst Feroza was sleeping, the great steed Salam stood guard at the door. But during the night, Feroza was woken by a great and blazing light. And this light appeared in the form of what we would call, and what was called in those days, a peri, a fairy, clad in silken gowns, looking absolutely luminous, and in a soft voice saying to Feroza, "I am your fairy guide, and I am here to help you to save your father. Give me the pebble, and I will transform him back to his original form." But to the very great surprise of Feroza, there her great horse, Salam, pawed the ground with his hooves and spoke in a human voice and said, "Princess, beware, this is not your fairy godmother. And in that instant, that blazing, beautiful creature turned into a fierce female dev, but disappeared in that instant. But in that instant, the pebble was dropped. Or was it that pebble? Because in the interim time, when the princess came to the place where the original dev was located, sitting on her great steed, when the dev asked her, "Well, did my brother give you a gift?" Feroza took out her sword and lopped his head, and was able to retrieve the pebble from the dev's pocket. So this is what she carried into the cave with her and her great steed. Now, Feroza was very surprised. "How come that you speak in a human voice?" she said to her great steed after this incident. And he said, "I am a man, and I happened to cause hurt to a great sorcerer who turned me into this horse, and I can only be released when I am loved." But the pebble was dropped, and Feroza asked, "Where is it? I cannot find it in the dark." But the great steed bent and picked up the pebble in his mouth and gave it to Feroza. Now they travelled then back to the place where the palace of the Shah and Feroza lived. And immediately Feroza undertook the task of seeking out one who was known to have and know the ways of the magicians, the sorcerers. And so she went there to the old crone who had these abilities and begged her, "Please, can you bring my father back to his human form?" And so it was that the old hag, as this is what she looked like, said her incantations, worked her magic over the pebble, and in an instant the Shah was returned to his human form. After returning to their palace, Feroza, with her great steed, Salam, went to him and, kissing him on the nose, said, "Oh, I love you." And in that instant, he was returned to his human form, as we know, a tall, handsome prince. We know the end of this story. But the question that arises from it is, What kind of love was Princess Feroza demonstrating when she kissed the great horse on the nose and said, "I love you"? Transformation. Breaking the spell. What kind of love is this?